Ogre and Axe are completely untouched by other teams, but definitely not two of the most
Blood grenade action. Planet, he's going to get skewered back. Not quite. Oh, he actually was in tower range. Just one right click there. But it looks like he will fall one way or the other. They're going to try to give the first blood to Yotaro, and it is successful.
This is extra bad because he's skilled telekinesis. So now he's going to show up to lane without Fade Bolt.
Yikes.
And that is actually it's quite a problem for Timber offlane to play with a Rubik that doesn't have that, because their lane now effectively cannot ensure ranged CS.
That's really
for the
interesting.
First couple of waves.
Like,
Timber doesn't deal with that very well.
If you let's say we go back in time, okay, and you're like, you will 100% live if you skill kinetic field. Do you even do it then? Because then you live, sure, but then you come to lane with just kinetic field.
I genuinely don't think there was a good reason to skill telekinesis, even if he lives. Like, he's going to have to use 2 or 3 of his tangos, and he's going to show up without Fade Bolt. So I feel like it's a bit of a bait, and sometimes, like, you also got to look at the risk-reward, right? You skill this, you don't know where the other heroes are. You might end up dying to something in the jungle at any point, and then it just feels even worse, and that's exactly what happened. So in an ideal situation, if you want to go down there as Rubik, bring a friend. Like, I don't feel like he should have been alone going down there to scout, but a little bit, maybe trying to cover a bit too much of the map at once. PSG.LGD get punished there by Spirit. Maybe a bit of, replay analysis. They know that this is something Planet will often do. At this level, sometimes it comes down to those small things, patterns that you...
All right, back to the real conversation, Synderen, which is Axe, of course.
Yeah.
Coolest hero in the game, pretty much. In this patch, how much have you seen of him, other than the games that we cast at the Major?
I've seen him a good bit, particularly in pubs. I think especially very early on in the patch when it just came out, a lot of people were playing Axe with great success with the early Vanguard rush and the overall presence in the game. It feels like Axe came off to a good start in most of the games that I saw, and then it was just a matter of could you stay ahead? Oh, Why You Smile is very dead here on the top lane.
Mira getting really low as well. Mira actually dies first. LGD get a little bit of extra XP as a result.
Yep. And looking at this mid lane, this should be Snapfire's this should be a very easy lane for Nothing to Say. The problem for Pango in this lane is that a lot of the time Pango relies on using the shield crash to get CS. And the moment you do that, you get in range of Snap. So you're effectively setting yourself up for failure to get CS, but you can't only CS with Swashbuckle in mid. It's just not enough. You're going to get out-farmed then, and Snap will punish you at every turn you try to use your other spell. So it's going to be a hard time for Laurel, and that's definitely one major positive to look at for PSG.LGD going into this game, is that I think from a pure laning perspective, I think their mid and bottom lanes are just inherently favored. And now it's a matter of how much is the top lane going to go Spirit's way with this Axe Sky that I definitely think should come out ahead on that one. And so far, so good for them, right? Axe 13-6 to the 5-1 on Shiro's Void.
All right, back to the real conversation again, which is Axe.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Mira's
you
dead.
change the conversation. Every time I mention him, there's a kill up top.
Insanely greedy from Mira there. Tried to kill Why You Smile alone in the tower. Just got insta-punished by Shiro. That's a bit of a blunder there, honestly. It's quite important for this lane that they don't blunder too much, because Void can get comfortable eventually. And you specifically picked this to win that lane. So, all right, speaking of Axe.
Yeah, thank you, Cinder. I was just waiting for that segue again.
Okay.
And you ending talking your monologue, it just never ends. How big of a difference has this change to the counter Helix made now that we've seen it for a couple months now, or however long it's been?
I would say, in particular, it matters a lot more when you get the shard.
You have to hold your horses, Cinder. We might have some action here.
I was talking about Axe.
All right, we can talk about Axe anytime. Even when there's action, you can keep talking about it. That's the rule now.
Can't say action without Axe.
Well, kind of.
So we're still talking about Axe, is what I'm saying. All right, nice shockwave.
There, looking to potentially get the skewer, but might not even need it. Telekinesis back in, but Planet is going to go down to the impetus, and now you can see the Timber in a bit of trouble. Let's get that Centaur creep, but still very low under that tower at the moment.
Honestly, still not too bad for PSG.LGD there. Yeah, you do lose your support, but Timbersaw gets to get the last hit on the Centaur creep. He gets to stabilize now in the tower, and Magnus used a lot of his resources on this. So, like, this support kill is largely inconsequential, and it's obviously, keep in mind, this is the forte of Ench. She's supposed to do this. So, I think all in all, PSG.LGD shouldn't be too worried about the game state as long as Void is doing okay. That's still my biggest question mark, and as we know about Void, importantly, he is laning against Axe, who is Axe. And that makes him really axy.
Oh, impetus.
That's a good.
Oh, yeah, that felt good. Miposhka
Yeah.
finally takes out that pesky Timber Saw.
Yeah.
Has the 2 in reactive armor, but that's not really going to do much against pure damage.
Unfortunately for Timber, he was not axed, so he didn't have Vanguard yet.
Oh, I
But
thought you were going to
does.
transition into another conversation about Axe.
I was. I thought that was
so-
all you wanted to hear about. When I say other stuff, you don't care. So I'm trying to keep it interesting for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're very
so,
welcome.
what did you have to say about Axe?
He's axed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
He's,
very,
I mean,
it's an Axe game?
It's his own quote. It's literally all he says is his name.
It's probably the easiest voice lines they've ever had to record for any.
Imagine you're hired to do voice acting.
Actually-
they send you in the room with the script, and you're supposed to say Axe is axed, and Axe is not
Maybe
axed.
Marcy was the easiest.
Huh.
It's just whistling, right?
I think it's pretty difficult, actually.
Are fortified.
Don't you think so? To do
It
all
depends.
these
Is that a
different whistles?
person or are they synthesized? We don't know. There's nothing to say. He's going to get ganked. Tries to get off
missed
the
the
cookie, but
cookie.
not going to hit Laurel, who's now
Nice
just
rotation here.
waiting to get this last swash for the kill, potentially. It's up in 2 seconds. Loses vision, but he finds the kill. Nice guess there as YU Smile came out to help.
This is probably going to be a collateral as well now.
Yeah, concussive shot's going to slow him to a crawl. Laurel with the crash. And YU Smile gets off one last frostbite, but the swashbuckle again. So Laurel with the double kill, and Granted under the tower. He's getting gone on now by Miposhka and his pesky creep. And there's the impetus for the finish off. So a 3 for nothing.
This is honestly just an S-tier support rotation, right? That's basically the perfect play that Spirit could have made at that point. They connect both supports from these angles. They find 3 kills and get maximum value out of their Ench. And keep in mind, the Magnus, sure, this Timbersaw matchup isn't the greatest, but he can still, until Timber is 6, you can kind of stay afloat in this lane. So your supports get to leave.
Oh my, the
do
belches,
something.
for nothing to say, come out.
Okay.
Actually doing a lot of damage. Oh, needed 2 more, I think.
Yeah,
Good attempt.
Onto an invisible Pango. That was pretty good accuracy, honestly.
Yeah, that would be a good mini game to play, actually. But of course, like the panel said, that combo with the Chrono, I mean, even if it's just like a quick level 6, just get the Chrono on cooldown or whatever with the Mortimers, that's going to be a kill.
Yeah. Not something to worry about for the next minute and a half now for Collapse, though, so he will be enjoying himself more. Creep cutting in the top lane will just pull the wave into the big camp every time, spin it up, and he is easily the top CSer in the game by 27 minutes in. This is what can happen in the perfect Axe games, and it's just... Yeah, there's not really much PSG.LGD can do about it aside from rotating their Snapfire at this point in time. Timber isn't going to be able to kill him without level 6, so... The Toro will skewer it. That was not the best skewer. It didn't actually make it to the high ground, but
Yeah.
Neo is still only level 5, so no Chakram.
Gonna get Telekinesis back. Just gonna go for the TP out. We'll be fine. Yeah, without the Chakram, which he now has. Not able to find a kill. Shiro is level 6 as well. We'll be taking the teleporter. Although actually cancels it there.
NTS did find a kill in the meantime, so stop the killing spree of the Ench. So that will be a little bit of influx for the Snap, but again, not the biggest of kills. PSG.LGD's lineup, obviously, as we've talked about, pretty contingent on using Chronosphere and on combining their heroes in teamfight scenarios, whereas, you know, Spirit are off to such a great start with their lanes that they can be content to just farm a lot. Axe can cut waves, Magnus can farm stacks with Empower, and then you got Pango just pushing out lanes. So I think the position that Spirit are in right now looks very comfortable to me.
Yep, Collapse about 700 away from the Blink Dagger.
Almost no stacks here. Look at that. 7-1.
Well, they are a very stack-heavy team, meaning can actually take them pretty damn early. As Planet's going to get gone on, already at half HP. Laurel will pop his ult. Of course, he can't steal it because you're not level 6 quite on the Rubik. It's going to be a trade of supports to start things out. And Scatterblast is going to slow Laurel as well, but he will be able to walk away. There's the first Chrono of the game. Not much damage to follow, but it will be enough nonetheless. So just supports across the board, trade lives.
Yeah, and that's, again, pretty good for Spirit, right? Remember the type of game we're playing here. PSG.LGD would love to find some juicy core kill with this Chrono Snap combination, but don't get it. They only get the Ench. Magnus is freely farming for a bit. Axe is going to have a 9-minute Blink Vanguard by the looks of it.
Yeah, pretty good.
So definitely this Skywrath Axe combination is going to be terrifying for the Void to play against in the upcoming 10 minutes. He can get caught literally anywhere on the map by these 2 heroes and just get burst 100 to 0. Nothing you can do about it. Your teammates don't have any saves. And it's also kind of hard to itemize against, since Axe has the pure damage and you've got the massive magical burst from the sky. So, gonna be a challenge here. Collapse gonna bring it to him.
Yep, time dilation goes off. He's gonna just time walk away as we see Planet get taken out in the jungle. And nothing to say. He does do a good amount of damage, but now that he's expended a lot of it, he's gonna get RP, TP coming in via Collapse. And nothing to say, caught in no man's land. Will fall. Collapse's TP was astronomically long, so won't get anything out of that.
Yeah, fortunately didn't need any help. Yatoro does it all by himself. And then they also get the top tier 1 tower, so more real estate here claimed for Team Spirit. This is...
Oh, he's stealing some stacks as well. Chakram is there, so that's going to deal quite a bit of damage. As you can see, reinforcements from Team Spirit are here, so Collapse will walk away safely. He does show off that Blink Dagger. Won't be a surprise any further.
He's going to go for the Blade Mail here. I feel like there's a case to be made for... Oh, hang on.
The Belches are too strong.
Pretty nice accuracy there from Nothing to Say. We'll get the support kill. Well worth it, considering Chrono wasn't used there, so they will have an overlap in another minute. They can use spells together as they wish, and trying to put pressure on this tower. You got to use Timbersaw's Power Spike right now to get something done. He's got 2 in reactive armor and 4 in the chain, so a lot in the way of damage, but not so much in tankability.
Collapse jumps in, gets the Berserker's Call off, which brings him back into the tier 1 tower, so the rest of PSG.LGD have to leave their Timbersaw to get chopped to the ground. As Why You Smile now. Nice tower to not come around PSG.LGD, but it might cost them the Crystal Maiden at the very least, who's trying to slow things down. So a second kill for Team Spirit. Okay, I have something very stupid to say.
As usual.
Thank you. Have you seen...
No, I have not seen that movie.
Octarine Core Axe with Arcane Blink?
No.
It's hilarious.
That does sound hilarious.
It's less than a 5-second blink. You turn the Vanguard into Octarine. It's going to catch on someday. It might need another buff to Arcane Blink, I'm not sure. I think it's a very undervalued item, though. So
I like the sound of that, though.
It's really fun.
Because I actually think on a hero like Axe, the overwhelming blink isn't necessarily that great.
Like, the slow does not matter. Almost.
Yeah, because you're blinking into taunt people anyway. So I like the sound of that. That's pretty cool.
Okay, wow. I was not expecting that reaction.
Trouble. He's
Cookie
dead.
does hit. As Laurel, he's going to live. We'll swash away safely as well, but like you said, the Void, that's a pretty big kill.
And it's not going to get any easier the next 10 minutes. That's the thing. He can't itemize against it, so if Sky and Axe find him together, you're toast. There is no solution. I guess that's only half true. I guess you can cookie him, but is Nothing to Say ever going to be playing with his Faceless Void farming in the jungle? I don't think so. He has to push waves to make space for him, so that's not really a concern that Spirit really need to have with their spell combo. So, yep, those two together gonna get it done. And this is a 5K lead 13 minutes in. It's the makings of what could be a pretty one-sided 2-0, to be honest. Unless LGD can find some sort of good team fight. They are well behind right now, and the whole map is a minefield. They're gonna get Axe.
Yep, Atos is there. The Belches, the fiery Belches from the depths of Nothing to Say's bowels are enough to take out Mira, and a Collapse will be next. So double kill for Nothing to Say. A nice coordinated attack there from PSG.LGD. I guess that was more of a defense, if anything.
Yeah, it looked like Mira was trying to reach in for a silence onto the snap, but ultimately just killed himself trying to go for the save there. So they get a bonus kill and close the gap by a pretty meaningful amount. They were 5K behind. Those 2 kills amounting to about 2K gold. And Snapfire getting both last hits will propel Nothing to Say toward those travels. Wondering what the mindset is here, if he's aiming to make plays with anyone in particular, or what the goal is. And obviously, if we do get to that stage, let's not forget Snapfire as a late game potential powerhouse with the hero's talents. People used to play this hero as a core late game, even when it started as a support. You would go like the little Shredder talent, and you would start getting damage items. Now you're a universal hero. When you do get to that point, this hero can hard carry a game together with Void. So yeah, if LGD can weather the storm and not bleed out, this is definitely a possibility.
This is the same conversation as last game, right? Team Spirit are playing super fast. PSG.LGD just have to try to hold on to a point where they can actually fight back. And I mean, you have a Faceless Void who's a bit of a slow ramper-upper. Goes Midas as well. That's going to just make it a little bit slower as the Axe Call into the Mystic Flare and choppity chop. Nothing to say with his second dunk of the game.
The big difference in nature between this game and the last one is that I don't feel like Team Spirit have the same, all right, we're just going to run at you and win kind of lineup as they did with the Bristle, Pugna, and Storm. Like this time, they have Axe who can get jump calls and obviously set up nice fights, but you don't have this like straight up frontliner that will just be an invincible killing machine. So,
well, you don't have an aura builder.
You also don't have the auras.
You could go Crimson theoretically on class, but that's kind of, I mean, Pipe is really weird on the hero, but you could do that if you had to.
Yeah, and the other thing is Pipe good enough this game? It's not particularly good against Void or Timber. It's good against the other three though, so maybe still worth it if they could somehow incorporate it. But yeah, I don't think anyone really wants to buy it. So that further in connection with what we just talked about in combination makes it a lot harder for you to just ball up and end the game. So
yeah. Collapse takes out a couple stacks here.
Nice steal, yeah.
Adding a little bit of insult to injury as we're at the 15.5-minute mark. Let's see how they position. We saw last game.
Oh, there is
okay, Harpoon into Skewer, into Mystic Flare, and into Dunk.
He got harpooned.
He got harpooned.
That was what I was going for.
I think that's what you meant.
I mean,
nice job butchering your own joke.
People pronounce it differently, Shannon.
Really?
Yeah, they
people say poon?
Don't they?
I think that's a vulgar term, actually.
Harpoonani.
All right, just pretend he didn't say that one as the tier 2.
Who said what?
Yep, in the butt. So the tier 2 tower forted now, and Team Spirit. Oh, what I was going to say before that action brought us out of whatever the conversation we were having. Last game, around this time is when they really prioritized that. Well, I guess they were on Dire last time, but the bottom side of the map so they can get control of that Tormentor close to that 20-minute mark. We'll see if they try to go for that again.
Oh, well, he does get some distance.
The Harpoon into the Swash. They don't even need much more to take him out, but here is the combo we talked about. Chronosphere into the Mortimer's Kisses. That's one dead. They have a telekinesis, but the Axe Call from Collapse into the Mystic Flare. Beautifully done, Yataro with the RP. And Collapse, he's getting a bit low, but he's doing more damage than he's getting taken from himself. That doesn't make any sense. That's not even English Cinder, this hero. In the trees now. They've lost 3 members, and they don't really have much else as Collapse continuing to get these initiations off. Going for the dunk. Nope. Won't find it, but they'll find the kill regardless. Buyback now into the Rubik. As Collapse, he's going to be surrounded. He's going to get called by the Rubik as that was stolen. As look at the damage coming out from Aposhka. He's going to get stunned thanks to telekinesis. Collapse will finally die. Takes him so much. And yeah, that's going to help keep Planet alive for the time being, but
wow.
Battle Hunger will kill him in the end.
Died. To level 1 hunger.
Oh. Yeah, you don't see that every day.
That was, okay, there was a lot of things to unpack in that fight. Just a lot of small individual plays and maybe little mistakes that make a big difference. Obviously an insane call from Collapse, but he missed the first dunk. So he didn't have it on the follow-up kill that they wanted on Snap later, and they obviously don't get the buff that they needed to chase better. And it does result in PSG.LGD being able to buy back that Rubik and find a pretty decent trade. So you're going to see the replay here. This setup from Yataro, obviously very nice. I also don't think they fully utilized RP and call correctly here. So this call is obviously outstanding. I guess no better than this.
Yeah,
that RP is a little early. Like you wait another half second, maybe. You know, the Snapfire dies. You hit your Culling Blade.
Yeah, it took them out of the Mystic Flare as well.
Yes,
which was unfortunate.
So all in all, with slightly crisper execution there, I think Team Spirit actually cleaned house. So I would say if you're LGD, you should be happy with what you got in the end. When all was said and done, this was a pretty even exchange. And Shiro did end up surviving the whole thing. And he's the guy you want to get big in this game. It's him and it's the Snap.
Yep. And that is when he died to Battle Hunger. That is when it happened. And you can see the Pango build. It's going to be very standard. Diffusal into the old Aghanim Scepter which actually will not really align with the 15 talent. He has to wait a little bit longer. As Roche will be taken out, and Team Spirit will be free to get this one. How many Roche steals have you seen? Aegis steals or Roche kill steals in this patch? I feel like it almost never happens.
Definitely way less than the previous one.
Dramatically less.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
For sure.
Feels like they're basically all uncontested. 4K lead now for Spirit, as you can see the Aegis on Yatoro's Magnus.
Okay.
All right, Chronosphere set up. Mortimer's Kiss is there. It's only on the one, but they'll take it at this point. And the Kisses have the range to help finish off the second member of Team Spirit. So just like that, it's a 3v5.
Dude, these kills give so much gold. It's incredible that that's a 3K swing in itself, more or less. I think it was 2,500 from those two. Obviously, the axe kill is extremely valuable, but look at that. It's like 2.2K, 2.1 from that one move. And they're just going to... The really good news here for PSG.LGD is that, sure, you used your chrono for that, but the game state and how the map is, and especially this deep ward you have in the bottom jungle, I think gives some really valuable information right now to avoid moves, just chill, buy your time. And Faceless Void has completed Sanjin Yasha here, so he's going to itemize specifically against Axe. It was either this or BKB, but Axe and Mag, I should say. Status resistance is incredibly valuable in this game, so I really like this choice from Shiro. I find myself very rarely liking Sanjin Yasha, but I think this is one of those edge cases where I think it was possibly the best possible purchase here. Like,
you don't want BKB. Manta against that silence right there? Mystic Flare doing a lot of damage. Nice telekinesis blocking the finishing touches from Laurel's shield crash.
The problem with Manta is I mean, if you could reliably Manta dodge RP and call, sure, if you're that good, but I don't think anyone in the world can really rely on that. So if you mistime it, you might just get called with your Manta loose, then you just die faster. It's a lot of gold to invest into like the opportunity cost, right? It's just like risk reward I don't like.
What about Ancient Seal?
Yeah, that's the one thing you counter out, but if that was what you wanted to counter, I think I would rather
just
see
go
him...
BKB?
I think it's just still better to tank up and hope that you can survive it and play with your teammates. Get a Rubik Shard, play with Force Staffs, play with Cookie. Stay alive that way instead.
Yatoro, yeah, they can't do this.
Well, they can do the Ancients, though.
Yes.
Full heal with the Satanic, no problem.
I don't know if this is intended, but, and I don't know if it's been fixed. I don't think it has. You can see the Tormentor through fog when it's taking damage, right?
Can you?
Oh yeah, 100%. If you're the enemy team and it's in fog and you just put your camera over, you can see like the red particles. I don't know if that's been fixed, but especially from like a pro perspective, I feel like that's kind of a big deal. Not that it really matters in this game, since they just gave it up early, but now they've been a little bit of space. It looks like PSG.LGD might be able to just take their own.
Yep.
Which they will. We'll see who ends up snagging this one.
Some nasty damage. Planet almost dying here.
Yep. It will be the CM.
Not really that useful this game, this shard. If YU Smile was having a better game and he was closing in on, say, a BKB or something like that, maybe it could be interesting. Because you clearly don't want to RP the Maiden or call her. You want to use that for the carry and for the other cores in the game. But realistically speaking, it's unlikely that she will get in a position to use a meaningful freezing field with that shard. So not really the one they were hoping for. I think the Rubik one would have been clearly better. It is a very nice shard against Magnus in particular, and also against Axe, who...
Oh, we have the Chronosphere, and actually Collapse walks right into that, so that's going to be 2 dead in favor of PSG.LGD.
I feel like they've successfully bridged the gap between what was going to be the hardest part of the game and the one that they're favored in. I would say at this rate that this is going, Team Spirit winning fights at this point have to rely on a really clutch skewer setup with the... finding the right target with Harpoon Skewer and building on that, because realistically speaking, they don't have like easy catch, you know what I mean? Like you have Blink Call, which puts Axe at risk, and you have Blink with Mag, which puts Mag at risk if Rubik is faster, if there's a Chrono nearby. You don't have this like one-click stun that can start things off. You need to position your heroes offensively to make the moves. So PSG.LGD, if they're grouped up, they have plenty of opportunity to counterplay.
Plus, it is a position 1 Magnus, and the repositioning aspect of that is obviously still a big deal, but if it's a Collapse Magnus, which is the 3, you're going to see that far more often, that becomes more critical.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, I wouldn't say it's an afterthought, it's still important, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's the main part, because he's doing a completely shit ton amount of damage.
The Void is very quickly approaching an amount of health that requires Magnus to kill him. That's where the problem comes in, right? Is that you can't just jump the Void with Axe Sky and kill him anymore. He's closing in on Satanic now, so he's going to have SNY Satanic, that's about 3,000 health. X guy don't cut it anymore. Mag has to get involved, and that's where the counterplays come in. That's where you're way more limited in what kind of moves you can make. So, oh, nothing to say. Just barely gets caught there. Indeed. It's going to be a nice one.
Choppity chop.
Dunk him up. Get that armor. And let's see. So level 20, he gets the choice on talent. I'm curious if he takes the armor or the Calling Blade damage on Axe. I feel like this is maybe a game where you take the damage, not the stacks of armor, even if he has like 10. It's really nice to get 10 armor, but
yeah, with 5 stacks, I don't think that's
so
enough.
much magic damage on the other team that the armor doesn't really matter as much, and it's a lot more about getting the kills in the nick of time.
Oh, Yataro, he's going to be found.
Well,
going to get telekinesed, but they harpoon the CM, so that's 1 kill with this combo. And yeah, it's completely absurd how much damage Magnus can do in this patch. Being universal and then having Empower on top of that.
Yeah, he currently hits for
400 something?
420.
Is it?
Yep. Oh, 419, but we round up, right, for the memes.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, now he empowered, so now he hits for a bit more than that.
Yeah, that's very balanced. I agree.
No, wait, it's still the same. He tread switched, Shannon. Pay attention.
Yep, okay.
Now he got an ulti orb, so Manta coming in soon.
Keep track of that damage.
Let's just say 500 and call it a day, okay? That's pretty fair.
And then when he gets the...
oh, just wait until he gets crit. Yeah, that's when it gets real nasty, but still some way to go there. We'll get the Manta first before opting for Silver Edge, which has multiple purpose in this game. Obviously, you're going to be able to break the Timbersaw if you hit him early. You're going to be able to break the Faceless Void level 25 taunt, which could come into play. Breaking Backtrack is very nice. Breaking Time Lock, also pretty useful. And of course, getting the jump, right, to begin with out of Shadow Blade.
How does the... We might have to hold this thought as Rolling Thunder already used. They swash into the fog. Collapse jumps in, but they don't even hit the Mystic Flare. He runs right out of it. Collapse leading the way. A little bit of miscommunication there from Team Spirit. Not sure if they still want to fight. Obviously, RP's still available, but PSG.LGD, they haven't used anything, so you'd think they'd be more willing to fight at this point. They're going to smoke out. Timbersaw has the Ags as well.
Do you just send Timber in with Ags activated now? Just YOLO in, set up your Void, snap to go, and maybe you die, but they have to expend all the resources. I feel like you still want Timbersaw alive here to deal the damage, so it's a bit of a balancing act. I would love him frontlining if they had Rubik's Shard, but since they don't, they can't really save him reliably.
Yeah, it looks like Team Spirit avoid the smoke for the time being.
Yeah, just playing around their ward very well.
You were talking about breaks, and it got me thinking about mechanics, Cinderin.
Oh.
With the break, of course. The Timbersaw Ags, I assume the armor that you gain is not brokenable. Breakable. God help us.
I actually don't even want to answer your question now that you said that. I feel like you don't deserve it.
Sorry about that.
Remind me of a friend of mine that says conveniable.
Conveniable?
Yeah, instead of convenient.
Oh, I see.
Brokenable. Yeah, the stacks that you already have don't break. Which means that if Timbersaw...
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, so what...
Because when you activate your reactive armor with Ags, you get max stacks.
Yeah.
I assume that is still given despite the break, right?
Oh, you mean if you're broken before you use the Ags?
before you use it.
That's actually a good question. I think you're unable to acquire stacks, right?
Yeah, that's...
I wouldn't know. I don't think I've
seen
that interaction a single time, so...
Oh,
okay,
broken. Arcane Aura is leveled up. Watch out for that one as PSG.LGD looking to initiate with a time walk onto the high ground next to the portal.
That's why I love when you cash in and nothing gets by you. That was a really
Arcane Aura!
Very important detail there.
Ancient Steel!
Yep, okay.
I mean, they came out with a cosmetic that makes Arcane Aura look epic, so you have to give props to Val for that one. All right. Mortimer's Kisses is set up a bit here. Long-range kill onto Miposhka looks to be a freebie.
It is
though
actually
he is healing up a decent amount. Shiro jumps in as well. Gets the cross here. It's on two. Beautifully done. The Chakram to follow. And that is disastrous for Team Spirit. They lose 4 and do basically no damage.
That was
PSG.LGD now looking for... Well, Roche isn't quite up yet. Another 20 seconds.
Yeah, they'll get it if they stick around. That was so clean. And I like this go on Miposhka because he's a big part of Spirit's damage. It's actually not a bad kill to use your snap ult for, and obviously at some point as they're running him down, Spirit do want to go for the counterplay, but the chrono from Shiro is just absolutely perfectly placed and timed. Didn't get the call off, and even if he did, I don't know if it would have mattered. Honestly, with Ench out of the picture, all you need to do as Rubik is stop the Magnus one time and your Void is going to survive. And keep in mind, Magnus doesn't have BKB. So he can't protect himself from getting lifted when he blinks in, or oh, it doesn't even have blink. So
no, they're setting up for the daytime Rosh. He's going to make his way over there. That was actually a kill with the reactive armor on the Ench, who they had a bit of trouble finishing off. 5K lead now for LGD, so this game has been swung in their direction. And we talked about the aggression from Team Spirit and how they had to continue with it, but they had to continue winning fights is the issue. And now they might be tapering off a bit. I mean, how does their late game match up towards PSG.LGD?
It's a bit hard to say. Ench is always a wild card in games like this because she can kill Timber and she can also do some serious damage to the Void. My biggest concern for Spirit is how does Mira remain relevant in this game? He went Blink Lens, so Skywrath doesn't really have solo kill potential.
Okay. Uh-oh, indeed.
Well, okay. Right. I don't know who dodged who there. That looked scary for both teams, which is probably why everybody backed away. I don't think anyone was comfortable right there and then. And Axe as a hero just naturally falls off, right?
Yes.
He has his jump with Blink Blade Mail, and that needs to lead to something. But Skywrath damage isn't overwhelming anymore, and the enemy heroes are getting tanky. Axe's curve is just flattened so hard now that...
Especially when the enemy doesn't have a ton of physical damage other than the Void.
Yeah. Nobody's really killing themselves that much in the Blade
Snapfire
Mail.
eventually, but...
Yeah. All right.
Okay, Rolling Thunder. There's the nice collapse initiation. The Chronosphere is there, but they're going to lose their Timber Saw. Does have the buyback. The Mortimer's Kiss is ripping Collapse apart. Yataro gets a nice RP onto two heroes. Pops the newly picked up. Now that's the BKB on the Nothing to Say instead. Gets off a little Shredder. Time Walk. All his health comes back as Shiro looks to be fine. Double buyback, though, from PSG.LGD. One on the side of Collapse.
Oh, that's a good swash.
Yeah, nice skewer back in as well. Shiro gets silence. Harpoon into the Culling Blade to come. Doesn't get the chop off in time, but they do find the Faceless Void anyway. Another buyback from PSG.LGD. This is a very expensive fight for them. Timbersaw getting really low. The Impetus doing so much damage. He goes back in and dies. That's a dieback for the Timbersaw. Nothing to Say now completely out of mana as Team Spirit now definitely coming back in this fight, and they can go for Rosh.
One by one, LGD just kept getting caught, one hero after the next. That's a 6K gold swing plus Rosh. They use, how many buybacks was that?
Four buybacks on PSG.LGD.
Oh boy, yeah. Just the chrono just not good enough, right? At the end of all of that, that's probably the primary conclusion. You chrono a single Axe who already used all his stuff, and as a result, Yatoro gets to play a completely free fight on the mag. And that will be an Aegis now going the way of Laurel, who bought back. I like that assignment a lot. I think Pango can take a lot of initiative in this game now. He has two follow-up heroes in Mag and Axe, so if Laurel is the one to initiate the action, he might just bait out some bad positioning from LGD, and that punish can be really severe. So yeah, I find this game very unpredictable in nature, how things are going, but yeah, the reason it just looked so good for LGD for so long is that they were finding Chronos, and that one just did not make the cut. And the punish was about as heavy as they get. 10K swing in that one move.
Precious bounty.
The silver lining for them is, of course, that with the Aegis on the Pango, if they find Mag in a Chrono, he's still very much killable.
Yep.
And I think with Mag out of the play, Spirit can't win fights. Like, there's too much of their damage is reliant on this hero right now and on the RP. So if a potential pick comes their way, they will be fine. But Mag is not an easy kill. 4,000 health and a cheese.
I like how
better land that Chrono.
Maposhka's done the most damage in the game.
Yep, that's just...
Good old Enchantress.
It's still... I'm not going to say it's an undervalued part of the hero, because obviously the pro teams know this, but it's like... A lot of the time in the games, you don't actually realize just how much it is.
If you don't get her in the burst with like your magic damage, it's really hard to finish her off. And it's like, is there a point? But you kind of have to. She just sits on the outskirts and starts to decimate your Timber.
She's just extra good in this game because of the nature of the enemy heroes, right? She's great against Timber, and she's great against Void too, because he can time walk off 1 impetus, maybe 2, but Ench just keeps going. And if she pikes him, she can outrange him, obviously, and just keep going. Planet is very dead here.
Yep. Planet, he does get the very important Battle Hunger steal before dying. By the way, Collapse is going for an Octarine, Cinderins.
Collapse is also very happy.
The Vanguard will turn into the Octarine, and then we just have to hope that he knows about the tech.
Arcane
That
Blink.
is Arcane Blink.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually a really good lineup for it as well, because you're constantly blinking, calling, walking away, resetting. It's almost like a Spirit Breaker having Aghanim Scepter.
Right.
You're just going in and out. Really hard to kill you, especially while the Berserker's Call is active.
The thing I'm weighing it against is the old Axe build with Refresher, right? Where you have them back to back and you can layer them fully.
That's a one-time thing, and then you have to wait a long time.
But that's kind of Axe in a nutshell,
what about
though,
Refresher and then Arcane Blink? Oh. Both, all of them together create a perfect storm. It's good. Can't wait to see it.
It is pretty good to have 40k net worth on Axe. That is true.
Agreed.
Happens all the time. He's almost halfway there in the 36-minute game.
He'll get there. I mean, we do like our 60-minute games.
Quietly, a little casual Hex here from Miposhka coming out, so giving them an extra tool in particular against the Void, but also nice for killing Timber. It protects Ench against losing vision with Pike, so she can Hex him and then Pike if she wants to really go for the kill. But more than anything, want to be fast and snappy and hexing the Void, who doesn't have BKB yet, so if he jumps in, can get caught by surprise, and honestly could be a potential game-winning play. As we know, Shiro doesn't have buyback for another minute or 3 minutes and a half, so any pick on this guy is a lane of Rax probably.
Yeah, nothing to say. Trying to get the opening. Larl's going to get off his ult, though. Nice control onto 2 heroes on the backside. And we have the Harpoon being used onto the Timber Saw. The Ags is active right now. Mystic Flare is there as well, but not dealing that much damage. Very scattered fight, and the Enchantress already dead, so Miposhka with all that damage. As you can see, Skywrath falls. Lar looks to be next, but that's just the Aegis. Collapse spots the BKB, not continuing to pursue, as Snapfire buys back into the game. And Collapse, now that the BKB is dissipating, will be stuck onto the high ground. Nice swashbuckle comes out, but it's not going to be enough to save the Axe as Collapse falls.
And that's a long death timer as well. He was one of the players from Spirit buying back in the Roche fight, so 100 seconds of power play now for LGD. They did buy back their snap for it, so better make it worth their while. As, interestingly enough, in a huge team fight, neither RP nor Chrono were used. They just held on to them the whole time, waiting for the other guy. Like, this is basically a battle of wits between the Void and the Mag. Just being...
Yeah, should mention, nothing to say, is level 20. So Little Shredder will proc his attacks.
Yep.
And then 25, obviously the next big power spike, as Yutaro really wants to be on fire right now.
Yeah, that multi-shot later could be nasty with the Chrono combo, but we're very far away from that still. Void, however, is not far away from his 25, and you've got to imagine you take the backtrack in this game and not the Chrono AoE. That's just too much value in having the backtrack. Gives you so much more freedom.
Yeah.
You do still need to worry about the Silver Edge, of course, but aside from that, it's really nice if you get jumped by the Axe. It's really nice against a lot of the Pango random burst damage coming out through fights, so it's going to help him a lot. Bump up his EHP by 20%. We'll put him at 4,000, let's just say 4,000 health, and then you start factoring in all the armor, magic assist, and whatnot. Very tough nut to crack with his 9-seconder as well. Unused in that last fight. I think Shiro didn't have it yet.
Yeah, he is quite large. Scotty looks to be what will replace the Hand of Midas. Of course, the Hand of Midas will be in the backpack.
It's worth noting that the last 2 fights that have gone well for LGD, what has actually started is that they caught Miposhka, right? Like, both this fight and the one in the top half, like 10 minutes ago, they killed the Ench first.
Yeah, I don't know if
it seems to be a good approach. They lose the Hex and they lose a ton of their damage if he gets taken out.
Yeah, I was going to say he did not have enough gold for buyback. I don't know if the cooldown was still in place there, but we talked about how he bought that sheep stick.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, if he gets killed off that early, buyback, and that's when you have huge impact with Enchantress.
Yeah, they did have... Did they have the outpost? I think they did at that moment, so he would have been able to reconnect. Yeah, they did. Oh boy, this is a big move. If they find Yatoro here, that's the dream find, but no vision.
They'll find the Enchantress instead. That's pretty big as well. Collapse jumps in to try to counteract this. They're going to lose the Enchantress regardless. And the Chronosphere, okay, some on his teammates. That's okay. The Mortimer Skisses will set up the Collapse kill as well. So 2 for 1. The CM, the only death from LGD.
Close to the call there. Planet with the blink call, just barely off the mark on the invisible Magnus. I think he got a glimmer of him on the Sentry earlier. Yeah, Toro is very aggressive here. This is a 3v4 situation. Sure, there's no chrono, but the Rubik is always going to be an X factor when you look for RP moves. And he will get spotted under that ward and get the hell out of there, but his invis is fading. Are they going to find him? Timber's going to get... Okay.
I don't know.
Not going to chase. He'll get the D ward and get control back here.
Well, Laurel gets the best neutral item in the game for Pango. The Tier 4, the newly Tier 4 Mindbreaker.
Yep. Have you come up with a better Vampire Fangs than Bristle? You've had 45 minutes?
I have. I think he's... I mean, Pango was my initial thought, but it's good, but it's not as good as Bristle.
I would say Pango is the best for Mindbreaker, probably.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
He is incredible on this neutral item. But the best neutral item of all time on one hero was probably the original Essence Ring on IO. That was ridiculous.
What about the original
We've never had anything like
trinket
that.
on Storm?
Yeah, that was also not even... I would still say the IO one was a category of its own. That was like actually just ridiculous. And it did get changed shortly after.
By shortly, you mean... I mean, that was in the game for like a year.
Yeah, it's an old game. What's a year to a game with a legacy of 20 years?
In the grand scheme of things, very short amount of time.
No way, that was a full year, right?
The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning, Cinderin.
If I learned anything from Dark, the one dialogue that they repeated every single scene of the movie is that.
Oh. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning.
Yes, it's a Spirit Breaker line as well. Kind of.
Is it?
It's close enough.
Oh.
He says something similar to that. Anywho, nothing to say, level 22. Now, if you're LGD, do you try to feed him the wisdom runes as they pop up? Because that 25 is insane.
It's easily the best talent they can get now in the game. So I would like to see them do that if they have the possibility to. But, well, we're very close to one spawning. They didn't do their math, though.
That's right.
I mean, he's not close to 25, so it wouldn't matter. They're going to make their move here. New leading the charge.
Yeah, Rolling Thunder actually jumps right over the Timber Saw, so doesn't get the stop, and he comes back in to make sure he gets it. Sheepstick onto the Enchantress. Rolling Thunder not having that big of an effect, but now you can see the image doing massive damage. Nothing to say, jumps right in, gets a little shredder, trying to finish off Mapochka. He does so with the Scatter Blast. He's dead for 75 seconds, as Laurel, now completely out of mana, has to use the Inhibitor, or whatever the hell that item's called, on himself. That's not what it's called.
What?
Disperser. It's Inhibit. Wait, what is Inhibit now? Does it get upgraded? The name? We'll have to talk about that after this fight. But there is the Chronosphere on his teammate, but also on the Magnus, and that's the bigger of the two. Down goes Yatoro.
Over. Get out.
Mira looks to be next, so double kill for Shiro. Collapse BKB TPs.
Yeah.
And LGD, they only lose one.
It really is the end-all, be-all of these fights. If Matt gets chronoed, I think Spirit lose. I actually think it's really that black and white. They can't protect him in the chrono. Snap is going to have a BKB. Void is going to kill him together with the Timber and the residual damage from Rubik.
This Roche has Ags, by the way. Who would you give it to? Nothing to say.
It's good on the Void, Shiro. I think. I would like to see it on Void here.
Did Planet take it?
No, it's in the Void's backpack currently.
He blinked in. I was like, oh.
It's time to show that off. No.
All right, so you get the time lock on Time Walk.
What's Collapse planning here? This is not possible, so he's not...
Oh, the sheep, though. They find Pango. See, Eon Disc procs. He's trying to get off his ult, but Collapse jumps in, gets a call only onto one. But there's the Rolling Thunder from Laurel. But, yeah, Collapse is getting decimated. Gets off the cheese, as Mapochka has TP'd into Tier 2 as well.
Okay.
Hey, well...
I mean, I guess the plan kind of worked out. It cost him a cheese to kill the Rubik. I mean, it's pretty decent, I think. It looked like he was planning a jump on the Timber. Like, there's no way he does this. Like, that kill was not possible, and he also never tried for it. But he did manage to find the Rubik opening, and they will grab that one, so not too bad. Missed the Culling Blade, but with
Wisdom
Octarine
Rune
Core will
still
be ready.
sitting there, Cinderin. Snapfire, nothing to say, level 24. It wouldn't be enough still, but...
Unfortunately, Shannon, look at Axe's quick buy.
Axe's quick buy?
It is.
Oh my God.
It is the refresher. It's not going to be the arcade.
I think we...
I am so sorry.
Regardless of whether they win or lose, the interview needs to be collapsed, and that needs to be the question. Does he know about the new tech? Okay?
And then he'll be like, yeah, but refresher's better.
Then the response to that is, you're incorrect, and then just hang up on him.
Oh, that's nice.
The power play.
That's good. I think we should interview pro players and just hang up on them. If we don't like their answer, no.
Yeah.
Just, you're wrong.
I don't see why not.
Thanks for coming.
If nothing else, it creates great content.
It does. I mean, it kind of stops the content, to be fair.
Which is great content because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
time for a tormentor here. I was about to call it inhibitor. You've influenced
He's
me.
inhibited him. Wait, what is the upgrade called?
Disperser, right?
No,
I think
surely it changes when you upgrade.
I think the active of it is just called disperse, isn't it?
Wait, who is the Pango that has
No, it's
it,
called suppress.
Yeah, suppress.
It's like a stronger version of inhibiting something.
You've inhibited me, you've suppressed me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can dig it.
They could have also called it super inhibit.
Yeah, I was hoping for inhibitor 2.0. Or inhibit 2.0.
Inhibit MK2.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Of course, we still have grab ally in the game. Hopefully that one never changes. That's a classic. Instant classic, some would say.
There were so many good names for that. Grab ally. All right, Shiro feeling himself, going straight in. There's the Hex.
Yeah, you can
Not
see.
really going to lead to anything, you would think, unless... Oh, okay. Oh, whoa.
Level 25 now online for the Timber, so you get the double Chakram.
Oh, they actually procced his disc. That's pretty important. The damage was just enough. So nicely done there from Shiro with the Axe Time Walk plus a little bit of damage coming in from, I think it was the Flamethrower, actually. That pushed him over the edge.
Oh, Rolling Thunder. Laurel trying to slow this down as much as he can. Does get the bash off. And the collapse jumps in. They actually bounce him out of the Mystic Flare, but it's still enough to take out the Aegis. Can they do it again is the real question. Collapse pops his BKB. Shiro pops his own. He's going to get called, actually, so kind of wasting the BKB. He's going to get the solo chrono off. They really want to kill Collapse, and they'll do so. He does have buyback, though, so maybe a questionable use in the end if they can get out, though. As Why You Smile, he's going to take the brunt of the damage from Laurel. As you can see, Miposhka just decimating Niu on the back line. There's the buyback finally onto Collapses. There's a Snapfire! Little Shredder decimating everybody, but the RP comes out, and it looks like it was stolen potentially and used on the original owner, which is Yatoro. And Collapse, despite buying back into the game, is going to die again. Triple kill for the Timber.
Holy shit, that multi-shot from Snap just annihilated.
I don't know when he hit 25, if it was in the fight or just before, but...
Yeah, actually almost lucky to get the RP off there, Yatoro, but it doesn't really help him because it got instantly stolen by the Rubik and turn around on him. And surprisingly, Planet choosing to not hold on to it. He stole Battle Hunger after.
He has a lot of armor for that.
I guess he was trying to get the call and just failed because he could have got more out of it. But a lot of the times you'll see Rubik hold on to that RP because it's so instrumental.
Yeah.
You're late in the game, your spell steal has 5-minute duration. It's such a good spell to have, but I'll have to settle for a Hunger for now.
He's going to get stunned thanks to the Aghanim Scepter on Shiro.
No disc. Well,
yeah, he does get off the Inhibit 2.0, but it needs to be a 3.0 to get out of that one, it seems. Does have the buyback available as Mira's going to be found, and...
Dude, this talent
dead.
is one of the most conceptually insane ones. The multi-shot and Snap is just...
There was one hero there. It didn't matter.
No, it's just when you look at it in fights, it's just so insane.
Yeah, it's very strong.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, it says 3x, right? It hits 4 targets,
yes,
right? It hits primary plus 3.
Yes.
So you're quadrupling your damage with that skill.
Yes.
Think of that. Is there any talent that even compares to that conceptually? Like quad damage on your primary damage spell as a core? It's quite wild. And this game might just be over at this point.
They have the buyback onto the Pango, but you can see Shiro and company just going straight for the throne as some of Team Spirit were actually trying to push the bot lane, which forces Why You Smile. He actually cancels a TP, and that is on Miposhka, who's doing a lot of damage right now.
Gonna need some nice fountain shenanigans here from Yatoro.
Some retribution on the CM. Looks like he might get his Why You Smile. Actually had a cheese, apparently, popping the freezing field as well. But on the other side, the Ancient is exposed. RP from Yatoro. Skewer back into the fountain. Is this enough to find the kill? No. Shiro just shrugs it off with the BKB time walk, and now focusing on the throne.
Okay.
Yeah, enough damage. The Chronosphere comes out, nothing to say with the BKB, but you can see Collapse jumps in, gets off his stun as well, but nothing to say. Gets off the cookie, trying to focus down the Ancient as Shiro. He's still within the Fountain's grasp. Time walks away, but another call comes through, and it looks like that might finally do it as PSG.LGD take game number 2 in